As we embark on the next decade of the Women's Empowerment Principles, or so-called WEPs, we are celebrating this milestone by honoring business action to empower women in the Asia-Pacific.
For those who have been making continuous effort, this is the time to showcase your progress and achievements and to champion for sector-wide change.
2020, marking the anniversaries of the Women Empowerment Principles and the Beijing Platform for Action, is an important milestone for driving corporate action on women's equality and inclusion. We now not only have the momentum, but also the power to take our actions to the next level.
AWEN is honored to partner with the UN Women Asia-Pacific Office in hosting the first UN Asia-Pacific WEPs Awards. Highlighting outstanding contributions towards gender equality is vital because success inspires success, and equality is a strategic key to continued growth and stability in our region.
As CEOs, directors, and leaders of industry, many of you have developed and strengthened gender-inclusive practices, programs, and actions. These inspiring examples need to be showcased, appreciated, and multiplied for wider impact.
All stakeholders, including decision makers, companies, and civil society, must work together and do their part to better support women as business leaders and in the workplace. As we gradually recover from economic crisis, we must build back better.
Signing the WEPs, one of the largest public-private sector efforts for gender equality, is just the first step. Now it's time to fast-track your SDG 5 impact. Share your best practices, share your actions, get visible, and inspire others.
If your organization is an organization that is committed to gender equality, promotes the rights of women, and if your CEO or director is heard or seen promoting gender equality, enabling working conditions for women, issues like an equal pay for equal work, then it's time that you're acknowledged for it.
Join the ranks of our exceptional corporate leaders making gender-inclusive business a reality.
All companies who are champions of women's empowerment, regardless of size and sector, apply for the UN Women Asia-Pacific Women's Empowerment Principle Awards.
So don't delay and apply for UN Women's WEPs Awards in the Asia-Pacific.
Welcome, everyone. I think we should enlarge my screen. Welcome to our first live information session for the 2021 WEPs Awards. I think we should have most people joining us in the room so far. So we'll go ahead and get started. We're going to take you through the application and give you more information. And so we have a pretty basic agenda. We'll only take an hour of your time today, but we're very excited. We're going to give you a little bit of background to the Asia-Pacific WEPs Awards. We'll give you an introduction, and then we'll walk you through the application process and the selection criteria, and then we will answer all of your questions live. So there will be three of us presenting today. My name's Amy Baum, and I'm an international consultant with UN Women's We Empower Asia program. And we also have Katja Freiwald, who is the regional program manager, as well as Kathy Mulville, the business partnerships director of Investing in Women, which will make a little bit more sense in a minute. And you all just saw this wonderful promo video that we had for our inaugural 2020 awards. We love it, so we still use it all the time for inspiration. And you can also find it on our Vimeo channel and our website if you want to watch it again. And so to get us started and tell us a little bit more about the background to the WEPs Awards, I'm going to hand over to Katja Freiwald.
Thank you very much, Amy, and for the ones that are joining us who have been involved last year already, let me put it, this might be a little bit of repetition for you, but nevertheless, I just wanted to share a little bit as last year, when was our first edition of the WEPs Awards in Asia and the Pacific. The program was organized by We Empower Asia, which is a program in partnership with the European Union, which is really all about aiming to really get more women to participate and lead in business in 7 countries across the Asia-Pacific region, the ones that you namely see on the screen: China, India, Indonesia, Malaysia, Philippines, Thailand, and Vietnam. And also this year's second edition of the WEPs Awards will be presented and organized by We Empower Asia. But give me a couple of minutes and I'll share a little bit more on news and partners that are joining us this year in the efforts to make the WEPs Awards even bigger. Speaking about the WEPs Awards, I think I need to clarify, particularly for the ones that are new to this agenda or haven't heard too much about it. The WEPs is already an abbreviation that we have been using and you have been seeing in the video and the introduction. The WEPs is referring to the Women's Empowerment Principles, which is a set of 7 principles which UN Women and UN Global Compact have been promoting over the last 10 years. So last year's was our 10th anniversary. So we are going into a new decade of women's empowerment principles. And you will see here on the slide, and if you get deeper into the content, the 7 principles visualized is really looking across the value chain of companies, really looking what kind of leadership do companies take, how do they implement women's empowerment principles or women's empowerment in general in their workplaces, in their marketplaces, and really ultimately, how do companies, businesses, industry associations, and other organizations, which we will specify in a bit, how do they use their influence to really mobilize others in their industries and in their peer groups? And the last principle, measurement and reporting, is really looking at how companies are really tracking their progress and how do they really make more transparent what they are actually achieving when it comes to gender equality. Now, so the 7 principles are forming the base of our WEPs Awards, and you will see that when we come deeper into the categories, I'm sure some of you are already pretty excited and really want to know what are the categories, and this will be something which you will be seeing in a bit. Now, the Women's Empowerment Principles, why? Why should companies act on the Women's Empowerment Principles? Why should companies really implement gender equality into their organizations? Well, in the first place, because it's a human right, right? Gender equality is something what all of us should be driven by. It's anchored in the Sustainable Development Goals, but also there is a business rationale behind that. And the business rationale is really looking at the numbers that gender equality would add to the economy, not only globally, but particularly also in Asia and the Pacific, where the awards are for. And while we have been working over the past 2 years very strongly with companies to really get committed to the women's empowerment principles and really implement them, we have learned also quite a little bit more on at what levels this actually brings impact for companies. And this really varies from cost savings and building more resilient value chains, which has been a really instrumental and important thing, particularly over the past couple of months during the pandemic. But we have also been seeing that this really helps to increase trust and credibility for consumers that the companies are serving, It really drives innovation, but it also leads to growth in the ultimate sense for companies to become more gender inclusive. And with that, I just want to share a little bit more about how to become a WEPs signatory. As you will be seeing in a bit also, that is one of the requirements in the end if you come through the process. We really want to inspire more companies also to join our large community that has been growing fantastically over the past couple of months in Asia-Pacific and globally. So we can put it also in the chat on weps.org. There's a very simple link to join, where you will really get all the details on how to join and become part of the family. And I can just say you'll be in good company. So there are a lot of companies that are joining us or have joined us, large companies, smaller companies, all kind of industries and all kind of countries. But we are very proud to say that our region here in Asia Pacific for the moment is the fastest growing when it comes to getting more companies to really stand up and showing their commitment. Now, with no further talking about the women's empowerment principles, I think we are ready to really get into the launch and the starting of this year's second edition of the UN Women Asia Pacific WEPs Awards. And Amy will be sharing a little bit more in terms of all the details, which countries, from when to apply, but you see already here that we are a week in advance, so the application is going to be starting 31st of May, and we really wanted to have this webinar today to make sure that people can really watch it and look at it. We also at Facebook Live now, so that everyone is prepared to really apply for this really important award. So the regional awards will be our overarching awards. So we will be having one big regional award winner in different categories, but we will also have this year again local awards about we will be learning a little bit more in a second. But what I want to draw attention to is that we have been really grateful this year that it's only the second year that we have found a really valuable partner to support us on the WEPs Award in 2021. We have been working together with Investing in Women, and I'm going to introduce my dear colleague, Katie Marwell, in a second. And it's really the continuation of the work that we have been doing together in selected countries in Asia and the Pacific. And we're really happy not to only that Investing in Women is supporting us and the awards on multiple fronts, but really helping us to really leverage their networks, but also bringing their tremendous expertise to the awards this year. So with no further ado, Katie, I want to say really a heartfelt thank you. And I would love you to share a little bit more about Investing in Women and why have you been becoming a dear partner to the WEPs Award, hopefully for a longer time in the future. Over to you, Katie.
Thanks very much, Katja. Great. If I have the first part of the slide, thanks, Amy. Okay, so I mean, Investing in Women, it's an initiative of the Australian government, but we share the same common goal with UN Women and We Empower Asia of creating enabling environments for women's economic empowerment. We do it in 3 different ways. Firstly, we work to improve workplace gender equality within the formal workplace. And we've set up business coalitions in 4 of the ASEAN countries, in Vietnam, Myanmar, Philippines, and Indonesia. And these consist of businesses who have come together to advance and committed to advance workplace gender equality, both within their companies, but also to work with their colleagues in the wider public sector. The business coalitions also provide services for companies that want to positively impact their workplace culture and practices and work towards WGE. Now, the business coalitions in the countries where We Empower Asia are based work very, very closely together with companies, encouraging them to sign the WEPs and providing advice and services for the companies to advance workplace gender equality. Investing in Women as a program also has 2 other parts. We work to increase investment in women SMEs, partnering with impact investors and ecosystem builders to expand the market. But we also work with a range of local partners, and that's to try and influence gender norms. We all know that policies and practices, even if they're adjusted, that may not be enough to make the type of changes we want to see real change because of the prevailing social norms. So we work with partners to try and shift attitudes and practices and support women in the world of work. Investing in Women is super proud. We're really proud to be a sponsor of the WEPs, and particularly to be custodian of the WEPs Gender Equality Workplace Award, which is one of the 6 award categories which Katja will is going to give you more information about soon. We are excited to be custodian of this award because we really feel it's important to recognize the businesses who are committed to improving workplace gender equality. Real meaningful change takes time and resources. It's not easy, and you need good leadership from the top. Therefore, we believe that the awards themselves give a great opportunity to highlight businesses and business leaders in these efforts. We also think that the awards are a great way to identify and share best practice. And
Let's see, I think Kathy, are you there? I think we lost you for a minute. Let's see. Am I coming through clearly? Can anyone let me know in the chat if
Yes,
I'm coming
you
through?
are.
Okay, I think let's see. Kathy, if you're back now, maybe? Can you if you unmute, we'll see if you're back. If not, we might need to.
yeah, am I back?
Yes, okay, it seems like you're clear. Okay, go ahead.
All right, so how far did I get before I disappeared?
Just about 10 or 15 seconds.
Oh, okay. So, yeah, I was just really elaborating the importance of the partnership. Maybe if you flip up the next part of that slide, Amy. That's it, yeah. So I was just elaborating really why investing in women feels that the awards are important. One, to recognize businesses who are committed to improving workplace gender equality. We feel it's important to find local examples of best practice to share amongst companies. We're always looking at investing in women, and I know UN Women and We Empower Asia are looking for companies who can become role models and really promote gender equality within their countries. And finally, we also want to be able to give information about the tools and strategies that some of the business coalitions can offer to companies. Yeah, so back to you, Katja, and very pleased to be part of this inaugural information session.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Kathy. I'm glad we got you back. We've managed to stay fairly stable on the internet so far. Okay, I will go ahead and take it from there. We're very happy to have had Kathy's introduction and Katya's as well. And I'm going to walk everyone through the categories, including the gender inclusive workplace category. And we're going to give you a bit more details on the process and the dates and the timeline. And I will be conscious of my time, just so that we do have ample time to get everyone's live questions. We've had a few in the Q&A already. Continue sending them through. And if you're watching us on Facebook, you can insert your questions there, and then we'll get them sent to the chat here. Okay, without further ado, we have 6 categories this year. We have 5 main categories, some of them coming from last year. We've got leadership commitment, gender inclusive workplace, gender responsive marketplace, which are similar to last year, and also community engagement and partnerships has shifted just a little bit from last year. And finally, an entirely new category we're very excited about, transparency and reporting. So as you can kind of see here, we're following that value chain that Katya mentioned earlier, kind of looking at all aspects of the business or of an enterprise, from leadership into workplace, marketplace, and then down to community, and then kind of transparency and reporting, holding up all of those commitments. And we're very, very excited this year to have our special highlighted category with it, which is youth leadership. We did have youth leadership last year, but this year we're boosting it up by aligning it with UN Women's Global Generation Equality campaign, which is working along several different fronts and with different action coalitions to drive gender equality across the world in several different fronts, youth leadership being integral to that. And so we really just did want to highlight especially the commitments and the actions and the innovation by youth around the region this year. So that's going to be one of our special categories. And we'll also have some special benefits attached to that one. One thing I do want to mention as well, that's another exciting addition, is each of the 6 categories has a winner, a first runner-up, and a second runner-up. But this year, across the 5 main categories, to really recognize the crucialness of small and medium-sized enterprises that really form the backbone of the Asia-Pacific, but some of those who may be very new to the WEPs and may not have all of the policies and practices in place that some larger corporates can have. We're also awarding 3 additional SME champions. And I'll get a bit more into this in a second, that any size or sector can apply and win any award, but we all are also taking this year that kind of special 3 awardees to recognize their contributions. Okay, without further ado, let me dive into the categories. So leadership commitment, this goes to leaders in corporations. This award goes to an individual, and this is for leaders that are 35 or older at the time of application. So this is those who have set strong corporate commitments, inclusive of initiating a gender policy, regulations in the workplace, also in the marketplace or community. So this can be something done within the company or also a public message driven to drive sort of gender sensitive practices in the public. Okay, next we go to the workplace category, which, as Kathy explained, is championed by Investing in Women this year. And this is really our it's a very broad category, and this is where we see the highest number of applications each year, where we saw last year in our first year. And we see this is really where a lot of companies start their WEPs journey and tend to start doing the most work and initiating the most work. And so this can comprise a bunch of different activities. This can be practices for equal recruitment and pay. This can be flexible work arrangements, especially looking at the effects of COVID-19 and allowing for remote working and remote arrangements for parents or other caregivers, supporting family responsibilities of both female and male employees, especially for the unequal care burden and the increase in care that has been exacerbated by the pandemic as more and more children have had to stay home from schools and we see more lockdowns in place. This also includes guaranteeing the safety and well-being of female and male employees, as well as promoting women's career development and leadership opportunities and offering training for support. And this can be anywhere from the workplace that you think of a traditional office setting down to a factory workplace setting. So this could even include providing safe transportation to and from a factory setting, as much as it could be trying to promote equal pay among senior leadership in the office of a major multinational. So again, this one goes to a company or an organization and can comprise a whole host of different activities. Okay, this one, we see gender responsive marketplace is a little less familiar to a lot of our first-time applicants, particularly if they're new to the WEPs. So this is where we start to dive further into the value chain. And so we look at supplier diversity. Are you taking steps to try and ensure that your suppliers are coming from more diverse enterprises, such as women-owned businesses, looking at women's intersectionality as well, looking at policies to incentivize procurement from women-owned businesses, potentially among other companies if you're a conglomerate, or also an industry association, gender inclusive distribution and selling, And also this includes an element of marketing and advertising and trying to sort of reduce stereotypes and have gender progressive marketing and advertising. And this can include external marketing campaigns, but this could also be in your own job advertisements or even in internal communications. And this also includes supporting women entrepreneurs through capacity development or market access opportunities. And this also goes to a company or organization. We come a bit further down the value chain and we look at community engagement and partnerships. And so this is recognizing corporate champions that promote gender equality through community engagement and partnerships. We're looking at organizations. This can include strategies of CSR or philanthropy programs that larger corporates take part in, but we really do want to look at companies that are engaging in quite progressive practices and really taking part in wider initiatives to make a bigger difference. And often this does mean partnering with NGOs, other international organizations, CSOs, community initiatives to take part in something that promotes gender equality. This could also be participating in an advocacy or multi-stakeholder platform or partnership, such as the Unstereotype Alliance, which is geared towards gender responsive marketing. And really, this could be a wonderful category for a stock exchange, an industry association, also a chamber of commerce that is really trying to bring together a wide group of companies or partnership to move the agenda forward. And this could also be trying to create systemic change within a respective industry. We saw some really wonderful applications last year of some organizations working to change, for example, the percentage of women leaders in the shipping industry in a certain company. So this also can be kind of a broad mix of initiatives. And this also goes to an award or company. And to come to our final main category, new this year, which we're very excited about, is transparency and reporting. So this is the 7 WEPs principle that kind of upholds a lot of the commitment to moving forward on gender equality. And you can see here on the left, this is our very newly released WEPs Transparency and Accountability Framework. Which we can point you to another fantabulous webinar we've done on that. But this includes initiatives of public reporting of companies on company-wide gender data. So this could be companies that already include and report on a range of gender indicators in their sustainability reports. We do know that a lot of companies now are starting to report on women in leadership. It's starting to be more often mandated. So we're looking at companies that maybe already have strong reporting initiatives in place. Also, those that have maybe taken the step to conduct a company-wide gender audit or an analysis of a particular issue, such as gender pay gap. And this could be something that was started as a global initiative by a multinational and maybe took place in several different offices. Or this could even just be a one-office thing of trying to understand better a certain issue within gender equality. This could also be integrating more gender indicators into sustainability reporting or enhanced gender indicators. And also this is a fantastic award for stock exchanges or industry associations who are advocating either across their industry or within their listed companies to enhance gender reporting. So new category, but one we're very excited about, and also an award to a company organization. And just to reiterate again, this does include industry associations, stock exchanges, and chambers of commerce. Okay, and finally, an award we're also very excited about to leaders 35 and under, youth leadership. So this is just like the leadership category. We're looking for young people taking action and really taking bold steps to advance gender equality. And one of the unique things as well about this award is that you do not have to be in an official leadership position. This could just be an employee within a company who's actively engaged or who wanted to spearhead or really take charge of one initiative for gender equality and really made a difference to the organization. So this can be anything from a startup leader who's just started a small organization to someone within a much larger workplace who doesn't have an official leadership position but is taking really positive steps. So anyone under 35 at the time of application can apply for this one. Okay, so going into a little bit more details, because we're almost at the half hour, who should apply? Who is eligible? And all of this information is available on our website. We are still in the process of fully updating it, but it will all be fully updated soon. But the general eligibility, the WEPs Awards, is for everyone in business. So as we've said before, this includes single entrepreneurs, SMEs, multinationals, social enterprises, as long as there's a profit generating arm, industry associations, stock exchanges, chambers of commerce. And the stipulation is that you need to have residency or be registered to business or operating in one of the Asia-Pacific countries. This is not only for We Empower Asia countries, just to reiterate again, anyone in the Asia-Pacific, and this also includes Australia, New Zealand, Japan, India, China, Korea, PNG, Fiji. We had plenty of wonderful applications last year, are eligible to apply. Also, all nationalities are welcome to apply for the individual awards. You can be someone from France who founded a business in Thailand or in Malaysia, and you want to apply for the leadership category. We do accept that as long as the business is registered in an Asia-Pacific country. And another thing is, because some of you might be completely new to the WEPs, and this is potentially the first time you've heard about it, what is this WEPs? You do not need to be a WEP signatory at the time of application to apply. So yes, you've just heard about the WEPs. You're thinking, oh no, I can't apply for this. Yes, we still really would love for you to apply. We actually found that last year, the majority of our applicants were not yet WEP signatories. If you are shortlisted, in order to become a winner of the award or one of the awardees, you will need to become a signatory by the time of the awards in order to be awarded. But just a note on that, we have more information on our website, but also just a note, when you become a WEP signatory, it really is a public commitment that you make, but it's a voluntary commitment to aspire to take action across all of the principles. But we know that not even the seemingly most perfect or gender progressive company is able to address all 7 WEPs principles, and we don't expect that. We know that some might have to only start with one and start where they at and think, I can't possibly take part in this. I'm not addressing all 7 principles. We don't expect that, but we offer the WEPs as that holistic framework to help companies be guided across their value chain when they can do that and when they're ready. So first time you've heard about the WEPs, you're thinking, I have a startup of 10 people, I can't possibly apply. Yes, you can. We had companies like that apply last year who were already doing amazing work, and they became awardees. Okay, so why apply? I won't spend too much time on this because I think we've already spelled out some of the great benefits, but you demonstrate your leadership on gender equality and also yield the business benefits. But also we need more powerful case studies from the Asia Pacific. We really have seen, especially with our program in the last 2 years, that we've really been building that base of WEP signatories. And through that, we've seen some of these amazing practices demonstrated and really shown some of the incredible steps that are being taken in the region. So that's a great one. You build credibility as well among your stakeholders, your customers, your partners, and fast track your sustainability agenda. All applicants get a self-diagnostic tool that we have to measure progress. You join a global peer community of nearly 5,000 signatories. I checked this morning and we're not quite there yet, but I imagine in the next few days we'll get to 5,000 WEP signatories globally. Access to free training and webinars, and also awardees and winners will have that worldwide recognition and visibility through our channels. You'll also get a testimonial video featured on UN Women Media channels, and you can check our videos out from last year. They're available online. We're also making profiles for all of our winners that will be used to demonstrate your work and also help create increased visibility. Okay, key dates, on to some logistics, and then I promise I will stop talking so you can ask some questions. Okay, the key dates. Applications will officially open next week on the 31st, but I'm going to show them to you in a second, and they're also available today already on our website. So you can already get started to look at it and fill it out, and then when they open next week, you can upload it. By August 23rd, shortlisted applicants will be notified by email. And then in October, we will have national ceremonies in our 7 We Empower Asia countries. And then that will lead up to our November 18th Regional WEPs Awards ceremony. So that's kind of the key timeline, the key date to keep in mind. Applications are open until July 31st, so there's plenty of time to apply. Okay, so the application process, we've made it quite easy. You go to the website, which is the address is here, and I believe we've typed it into the chat as well. Choose your language. So the general application is in English, and we are offering it in the local language for some of our select We Empower Asia countries. But general application is in English. And then step 3 is complete the 4 sections of the application and upload files, and all applications are submitted online. So I'm going to show you some screenshots of the application, and then it actually is available now on the website for you to download and get started. And if you want, by all means, you can start on it offline, but then every application does need to be submitted online. Okay, so just quickly a little bit more about the application process. Each applicant can apply for up to 2 categories. Okay, so you can apply for 2 categories, 1 application. When you get to the application, it allows you to choose 2 categories that you can apply for. And if you want, you can submit the same initiative, kind of the same wording for both categories. We saw that last year that the initiative that they submitted for leadership was also what they submitted for workplace, because it was kind of a leader who had initiated it. And so they submitted it for both. There are 3 parts. Part 1 is general and applicant information. Part 2 is a set of general questions that are multiple choice questions to assess policies and practices. And these are roughly aligned to the WEPs principles, but we understand that not everybody will have these in place. And so I'll explain what we've done with the scoring a little bit. And then part 3 is where you input all the information about your initiative, where you answer questions detailing what you've done. And in parts 2 and part 3, we do ask that you upload supporting documents to provide evidence for the answers that you give and for us to be able to verify the answers. We do need to maintain the process as rigorous and ensure that we really are going through a standardized and careful process to make our selection. But we do appreciate that we have a wide range of companies applying, and that not everyone is able to have a full suite of policies and practices in place. And so we also accept a written description of the work that you've done to try and verify the answers. If you don't have documentation, we really do want to make it as inclusive as possible and accept as many applications as we're able to, and not disqualify people because they don't have those policies in place. Okay, so going through the application, part 1, these are kind of some screenshots of what it will look like on the website. You'll see some answers like this. And then the little red asterisk means that it's compulsory to fill in. So general things, company name, country where you're operating, the industry, some general information about number of employees and percentage. And so that's, I think, about a set of 10 or 15 questions. And then part 2, these are the general questions that are aligned to the WEP. So these are questions like the percentage of women in management positions, including the top management is, and then you can insert your answer. So below 10 to 29. And so we will ask you to either upload files that sort of provides a report that you have that might verify the information and organizational chart, or you can write in the description if possible. But we will require that everyone either upload the file or write some sort of a description in order for us to be able to verify the application. Things like, does your company offer and support paid maternity leave? We asked for the number of days, any written description you might have. I thought there were a few more, but there's not. But again, we don't want this to scare anyone away, and I'm going to explain just in a second how the scoring works so that we make sure that this doesn't overly advantage larger companies. Okay, part 3 are the category questions. So you'll choose your 2 categories, and then you'll be taken to a page like this that will again give you a brief description of the categories. And all of these are available on the website and also in the application itself. So we'll ask you to enter a short title and description. And then we have 3 main sections: background and context. Why did the initiative start? What policy or issue were you trying to solve? What was the rationale? What was the real objective for starting this initiative? Also, what is the scale and who else does it involve? If it's in partnership or covering a large portion of the workforce, but basic background and context. The next is key actions taken and lessons learned, and this is 600 words. You can provide a little bit more information. So this is basically tell us what you did, right? What are those key actions? What are you doing to implement this and drive this off the ground? Were there partnerships involved? Why and who and how? What were the challenges, and were there any challenges in implementing this? How are they being solved? And what are some of the key lessons learned so far? And results and sustainability, the final section, looking at the results that you've had so far. We're not expecting everyone to have some major, impact over 4 or 5 years, but the results that have been sustained to date. How was success determined, or how will it be determined, and what indicators were used? Was sex segregated data collected and tracked and monitored? And also, how do you plan to carry the initiative forward? How do you plan to integrate it into a scaling plan or sustainability plan, or plan for a phase when the situation may have changed, or perhaps in thinking of moving back to office work as you build back from COVID? So these kinds of different considerations, so that we're kind of covering from inception all the way through to carrying it forward. And one note that it is in the application, but it's not here right now. We do ask that the initiative started no later than January 1st, 2019. So we are trying to look for initiatives that are fairly recent. It can be something that started a long time ago, but it needs to be at least active as of the last year. So we don't want something that happened 5 years ago, and it was a great initiative, but the company hasn't done anything else since then. That wouldn't quite be what we're looking for. So it doesn't have to have been, just in the last year, but we do want it to still be active, having an effect, scaling, taking place in other offices, something like that. And then there'll be a final place for you to submit your application. You hit submit, and then it's in. Okay, so a quick note about the scoring process, and then we will go to question and answer. So we're at 3:41 and noticing. Okay, so part 1 has no score. Part 2 is weighted at 25%. So those of you who may be watching and be a little bit intimidated by some of those questions, it's weighted at 25% of the total score. We do want to collect this information and see the steps and the policies and practices that companies have in place. But we don't want that to be a major barrier for a lot of the smaller enterprises that we know are really the backbone of the economy here and may not have all these in place yet. So the majority of the selection criteria and the scoring goes to your Part 3 initiative that you've done. This is 75% of the score. This is scored using a standardized scorecard that we use, where we follow a set of general questions, and then the answers are verified with supporting documentation. And for the Part 3, this could include anything from a sustainability report to a video, to pictures of the initiative that you're doing, to news article. We even had some companies last year screenshot comments that had been left on a video that they used for their initiative, where people had talked about how it affected them. And that was also used as part of the evidence. UN Women does an initial shortlisting process, and then all the final scoring is done by an expert panel of external juries who score part 3 and review the documents. Those scores are given back to us, and then they are combined with part 2, and then the final awardees are determined. So that we do try and keep it as objective and neutral and also standardized as possible. And all the judges go through a briefing session before they score to make sure that they're really staying consistent with their scoring. Okay, so that's my bit, which was quite long and quite heavy on a lot of details. There is more information on the website, but I hope this has given you a good idea of what the process is like. And so I think I can open it up now to Q&A. I'm not sure that we have so many so far, so please go ahead and type your question and answers into the Q&A function. We might also have a few that have come through on Facebook, I'm not sure. I'll hand one over to Kathy, actually, that we have about investing in women while we wait for a few others to come through. So we do have a question, Kathy. Any plans for business coalitions to be in Malaysia?
Yeah, I'm here. Sorry.
Okay.
Yes.
Go ahead.
At the moment, not. We are sort of consolidating our efforts in the 4 countries where we are. As you can imagine, we've been impacted by COVID and the impact that's had on the business community. But what I like about the awards is I think this is a great opportunity to hear good examples across the region, you know, linking the IW countries with the UN Women initiatives in those other countries. I think it's a great opportunity. Thanks.
Katja, you raised your hand.
I just want to add on to the Malaysia piece, which is not for investing in women, but I just wanted to share that UN Women does have in Asia, in Malaysia, an initiative which is called the WEPs Activator campaign in partnership with Lead Women. And I think we have also some colleagues from Lead Women on the line here. If they just want to kind of put something in the chat and maybe connect or share their email address so that people can also connect to them. So they will be also supporting us on the WEPs Awards, but also on other capacity building in Malaysia. So that was just to this question. And I think there was another question, Amy, in terms of if you could share the country list. I think just very simple, the country list is also on the website. We can send the link to this, but it's also very visible if you go to the application on the website. I think Amy, you had shared quite a bit where this is to be found, but there was a question on that as well. I just saw.
Yes, so I think there's 30 countries included. It was typed into the answer actually, but it is also listed on our website. It's pretty much any of the Asia-Pacific countries. I also saw, I think one that was also answered, and then I see a few others. One that was also answered was, how does a single entrepreneur become a WEP signatory? And Katja, you answered this. As long as you're a registered business, you can apply the same way. You can still apply on the website to become a WEP signatory if you're one entrepreneur. Okay, Susmita asked, is there a specific reason why the award submission dates are advanced this year? We just started the process a lot earlier this year so that we would have a lot more time to get people on board, but also more time to give our teams time to review all the applications and go through them and ensure we had ample time for our judges to judge. And also to ensure that we weren't so close to the holiday season with our final ceremony, but no other reason than that, Susmita. Okay, this is a great question, which we do get a lot. Companies can apply for both regional and country-specific awards, or any one of them. Okay, so what you do is everyone who applies as a specific country, and all of those are eligible for the regional awards. But what happens is if you apply from one of our We Empower Asia countries, so for example, China, if you apply for China, your application initially goes to our China team, and our UN Women China team does the shortlisting there. And then China will hold a national WEPs Awards ceremony for all of the Chinese awardees. And so that could be up to 21 awardees. And then the top winners in each of our We Empower Asia countries will then go on to be in the final kind of judging pool with other non-We Empower Asia country applicants who have been shortlisted, and all those together will make up the pool for the regional awards. So you just apply for whatever country you're based in, and you're automatically in the running for the regional awards. I hope that makes sense. Let's see, we have another one. Hi from Vietnam. Could you elaborate on the relationship between the Asia-Pacific WEPs Awards and the We Empower Asia countries national awards? Which would you, yes, so I think a similar question, which would you advise companies to apply for? You automatically already apply for if you're in a We Empower Asia country, you automatically apply for that national award to be eligible for both the national and the regional award. You can't opt out of being part of the national award, if that makes sense. I hope. Okay. How soon can we get to view award application information on the website? Okay. So actually I'm sorry that it's not fully updated, but actually if you go to the website now, if you go to the apply tab, the 2021 application is on the apply tab. For the other tabs, we still have 2020 information. We're getting it updated this week, but the application is actually live. Not live to submit, but the actual application can be downloaded in PDF or Excel format, and that's the 2021 application. And we'll go ahead and also send it through to everyone who registered. We can send it to you as a link just to make sure you get it and you can already get started. Okay, any others? I'm just checking in the chat. Okay, Malaysian companies. Okay, let's see. Nice. WEPs Awards, transparency and reporting. Maybe Katya, you can take this one. For the new category this year, transparency and reporting, how can we share practices of internal communication on WEPs amongst our employees? We aren't a publicly listed company, hence the question.
Okay. Let me just kind of paraphrase that. I'm sure I do understand this right. So first of all, it should not be reporting, transparency and reporting should not be only for publicly listed companies. We do encourage, through the work that we are doing, also any other company to track, to set targets, track their progress, and share them in any reports publicly, but also internally. We know that very often this process starts with internal target setting and internal reporting. So definitely any good practices on this, on how to drive internal change. First, if you don't have public reports that you're reporting on, are also good practices to be shared. So really don't feel pushed away if you're not a public listed company. The opposite, I think in our region, the majority of companies are not public listed ones. So we really look for examples, good practices in that area as well.
Okay, and we don't have any others yet. I just wanted to show everyone while we had time. So I'm live on the website right now. So if you go to the apply tab right now, this is the about the application for 2021. And so applications open May 31st, but you can download the form today and start preparing. So yeah, we don't have all the buttons up yet to submit that application, but if you want to go, you can already download the questions in PDF format and also in Excel format if you want to get started today. Okay, for those 21 companies who do not make up for the regional awards, is there another recognition from WEPs within their country? This might be a bit confusing. It's not 21 who wouldn't necessarily make it to the regional awards. It's sort of any company could be eligible for the regional awards. It's just the total number of awardees sort of at the regional level and in the countries would be 21, possibly because we have 6 categories, 3 winners per category, so 18. And then we add on 3 to that for our SME champions this year, so there could be 21. So in our We Empower Asia countries, there will be the chance for 21 companies to be recognized as awardees. For all of the non-We Empower Asia countries, we go ahead and automatically make a short list, and then those are pushed to the regional ceremony. So those have a chance to win at the regional ceremony. We welcome our UN Women offices to also recognize certain companies that have maybe made the short list in those countries, but if it's a non-We Empower Asia country, we aren't able to hold a separate national award, unfortunately. They kind of go straight to the regional pool. So, and let me know if I answered that correctly or satisfactorily for you. We have another one from Deepayan. Leadership commitment. Is this open to both leaders within organizations and individual entrepreneurs? Is it separate? Yes, this is open to both. You can apply for this award if you're an individual entrepreneur, as well as if you're the CEO or managing director of a large company. Okay. We've got 6 minutes to take questions. Go back to my presentation. We'll see if we get any others in the time left. I'm sure we'll get several others once we launch applications and start sharing. We usually have more come up. I think maybe we'll wait just another minute and we can always close early. But just to say, while we're still waiting, we're really excited for this 2021 edition. We had over 400 applications last year from 250 companies from 17 different Asia-Pacific countries. It's always very exciting for us to see all the fantastic applications that come in, and we are available to support you if you do need extra help filling out the application and knowing exactly what the right documents to upload are or filling it in. And we will be having these information sessions a few more times before applications close. We haven't announced the exact dates yet, but we'll have 3 or 4 more information sessions to kind of walk you through and answer more questions live. Okay, last call for questions before we sign off. Anyone else? Maybe one question I will answer that I know comes up, has already come up frequently before we sign off, and if no one else is asking it, is if I won last year, can I still apply this year? So if you were an awardee, a winner, a first runner-up, or a second runner-up last year, you can still apply this year, but it needs to be for a different initiative. You could still apply for the same category, but it would need to be a different initiative. So for example, if you applied last year for a workplace initiative that had a specific name or project name that your company was using, and you won for that, you cannot use that same initiative this year. And vice versa, you can't apply using the same initiative but in a different category. It does need to be for a different initiative. Okay, one last question. Will this webinar be available on your website? Just in case we need to revisit, yes, we will upload it on the website. We'll also have the recording on our Facebook Live, and we'll also be doing a few more so that you will have more questions. Don't worry, this isn't the last you'll hear of us about the WEPs Awards. Okay, Katya or Kathy, do you have any final words?
Nothing from me, thanks.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks a lot. Okay, so thank you so much everyone for joining us today. We look forward to receiving your applications and look out for next Monday when they officially go live. And if you've already started preparing this week, you can submit the first day. So thanks so much, everyone. Bye.